8 to 10 a.m. and you're listening to Salam.
Right, we're going to get fired up now with Ashraf Gangrekar, representing the African Muslims Agency. Ashraf, appreciate your time. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, Ashraf. Good to see you and be with you again, and to the viewers, listeners of Salam Media.
Thank you.
Ashraf,
So on a
today
Monday,
I thought,
tell me. On a Monday, what are we talking
today
about?
I thought I'll take you up on your invitation of last week Friday with regards to what is purpose, yeah? And we spoke about, okay, there's the highest purpose, we were created to worship Allah, etc. And then you said, what is the purpose of the country and what's the purpose of us? And so maybe we can actually have a chat about this and maybe not just be fired up as in me doing all the talking. Ashraf, this is my 2 cents. One, our purpose in this country is to be active citizens. By that I mean to be the best that we can be, no matter what we are doing. You're a great broadcaster. You're an active citizen. Everybody knows about your involvement in the movements to establishing our country. So for us as individuals, the best that you can be at whatever as an active citizen in the country. What is the country's purpose? And I think for me, Ashraf, where we're at is to look at the Maslow's hierarchy of needs almost, right? There's the physiological needs in terms of maybe a sense of shelter, water, and where we're at, electricity. But I then also want to focus on some of the, the safety needs in terms of security, a degree of employment, some sense of shelter. And I just think in terms of purpose, this is where I believe a lot of the people are becoming, increasingly disillusioned, because there's this, particularly when it comes to the issue of security, this complete and utter lack. So I'm hoping to get some response from you, and we can get fired up together.
Let me pick up
about it.
I mean, I think the purpose in terms of the needs. I mean, there's if we look at so I don't necessarily think purpose means needs. Okay, so
No.
needs, obviously we need a safe South Africa. We need a very safe South Africa. We need to have no load shedding, which means we need to have electricity supply. We need to have a top class education. We need to have roads that just work. We need to have sporting teams that win. We need to have tolerance of society. I mean, I think all those things are there, right? Or should be there, rather. I think the purpose that we talk about is there a rallying call that we can actually all galvanize around? So if purpose one of the personal purpose is to be active citizens, then active citizens together around what? What is the rallying call to be fired up about, so that we can say, you know what, I do this in my life, but this is what I do for my country. And I think that's absent at this point in time.
Yeah, no, I quite honestly, I agree with you. I don't know the answer to that question, because I think it was a couple of years ago, I think before the Ramaphoria that we had initially, there was this huge rallying call, Jacob Zuma must go, for example. And everybody took to the streets, and persons in all shades. And that almost became a rallying call. And we thought, well, with him gone, everything would be fine. And we've learned that that's not the case, right? And so I'm not sure. And I just think for me, and, I'm fortunate to be involved with young people. I mean, apart from AMA, I work with the youth at schools. There's this huge sense of disillusionment. And this worries me with this notion of, no, I'm going to go to university, sir. I'm going to study, then I'm going to leave. And so suddenly, people of maybe our generation, Ashraf, we're saying, no, we need to band it together and make things work. I'm not sure if there are enough people who still want to do that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I just think, I'm not sure what I want a rallying call. I want us then to be rallying to make things work in our country for everybody's sake.
And maybe, I mean, and that's the point, if someone says, for example, they want to leave and they want to study and leave, you can't really argue with them when the stats suggest that they may well be right. Okay. Obviously the patriot in me wants them to invest their efforts and their time and their acumen in the country. Right. But the condition to make South Africa a desirable country. I'm just thinking about everybody rushing to Dubai at the moment. I mean, there's not that they're perfect, but there's a reason why people are rushing to Dubai, whatever that is, right? The conditions but it wasn't always the case with Dubai. Something happened to make Dubai that desirable destination. So the conditions to make South Africa a desirable country to live in at this point in time for people on the outside and the inside are not being met. And therefore, yes, you don't have an answer, understandably. So I don't have an answer, but therefore the conversation we're having now about what should the national purpose be, not what is, because there is no national purpose. I'm going to say that
Yes.
in my understanding. If there is, I should know about it, and I don't know about it. Okay, so what should the national purpose be so that we can create that paradigm shift even one day at a time? That's why this conversation we're having is really important.
Yeah, no, I hear you, and I'm hoping, and I know. Look, let's Ashraf, be honest. I know you've established a sort of movement in a sense, and I'm saying that more people should be part of the conversation. At the very least, we need to be talking about it to heighten consciousness. Because the other thing is that I think too many people, and that's why I went to the active citizenry in the beginning, because I think people are too comfortable to say no, nothing's going to work, and we're just throwing up our hands in despair and becoming so disillusioned. And oh no, we're another Zimbabwe, etc., etc. And one can almost understand that frustration. But if we all did that, then we would simply be a basket case, as it were, of failed promises. And I just think that's the sadness in terms of the history from which we come. And so for me, almost the rallying call is like, one more chance and let's give it our best shot all over again. But I just think also the sense of disillusionment, despair. And I speak to people here in Cape Town, and I'm not going to say to you that we don't have potholes, but I don't think they're as big as the ones in the rest of the country. But I am saying that there's clearly an us and them for us here in Cape Town. I think that's scary. That's the great divide, as it were. But I think to really address the disillusionment and the sense that things can be improved, how to get that, to galvanize that, and to attract that sort of interest again, I think that's going to take a huge effort. But if we don't do it, the alternative is too ghastly to imagine, Ashraf.
Well, I mean, I think you're spot on, and I think it was probably mentioned at the previous Ramadan. I think it was with the Imam at the Idgah. Made the point about arise, O Muslims, right? And I think it's such an important issue to reflect on. And perhaps when you talk about giving people hope, well, at this point in time, in the last week of Ramadan, the evidence of hope in the midst of hopelessness is clear in all the Islamic scriptures. They are there. They are there in the time pre-Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They are there in his time as well. There's evidence of hope. There's evidence of the time of Ibrahim, the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, and his wife, and Hajar and the children and the Zamzam. All that is hope from moments of hopelessness. But I'll leave it with this, right? To sort of sidely answer the question just for now, because we're talking about it's a good thing. It's one step in a whole process, right? When people have success, personal success, and they do not link their personal success to the national success, when they don't join the two up, that's the first step to moving from a winning nation into a failing nation. Okay, the opposite of that is when they link their personal success to the national success, or in this case, personal purpose aligned to national purpose, then that's the first step to the national success. And again, if we want to find an example of that, the model, we talk about the Sunnah, we're going to have a look at the Medina model. That's exactly what happened. Ashraf, let's leave it at that. Thank you for your time. Much appreciated.
Great stuff. Speak soon. Take care. Thank you.
There we are. Ashraf Gangrekar. There we are. Have a look at the Medina model of linking your personal success to the national success, and then see if you can apply that way, that Sunnah, to South Africa and the challenges that we face right now. By the way, talking about challenges, I want you to make a note of this here about Sentio Capital, right? So Sentio's Invest for Good philosophy is based on a genuine desire to use their investment skills for the benefit of broader society, while also delivering superior returns for clients. Now, regardless of market conditions, you visit the website to know more. It's sentiocapital.com for more information on their Sharia investment products. Sentio Capital, Invest for Good. Sentio Capital Management is an authorized financial services provider. Okay, lots more to come from being fired up. We need to talk about the markets. We'll do that with 27.4 right after this.